Hey there, fellow YouTubers. I work for Service Master Restoration by COSEA, located in Sumner, Washington. Today, I am here to discuss what exactly water mitigation is and why it is so important in the water damage restoration process. Here at Service Master Restoration by COSEA, we want to make the mitigation process as easy for the customer as possible. To achieve this goal, we must explain what exactly water mitigation is. So, you want to know what water mitigation is and why it is important? Well, if you can give me a few minutes, I am sure I can illuminate you and walk you through this, oftentimes, complicated procedure, step by step. Service Master Restoration by COSEA strives to uncomplicate matters for you. It is our goal to make this process as easy on our customers as possible. Water mitigation is the first step in addressing water damage. It prevents further damage from occurring and involves water removal, moisture control, and structural drying. You might be wondering why this is important to you and your situation at all. Let me tell you why. Not only does water mitigation minimize secondary water damage, such as buckled floors, crumbled drywall, and widespread mold growth, but without water mitigation, you cannot have full service repairs or property-wide restoration work done. You might also be asking, when should I call a professional water restoration service? With heavy rainfalls, there comes inevitable flooding. And sometimes, this flooding affects our dwellings. Also, leaks in the walls and floors do happen. This can cause not only water damage but mold growth as well. Do you have fire sprinklers? If so and they are activated, they can cause damage to the building and the contents. All of these situations require a professional water restoration service like Service Master Restoration by COSEA. The first step in the water mitigation process is to determine the source of loss and attempt to stop it. The longer water flows into the property, the more damage it's causing. So, we need to stop the source of loss as soon as possible. Service Master Restoration by COSEA will, on an emergency basis, try to help stop the source of loss, but we always recommend a professional and licensed plumber be called out. We can assist you with finding a plumber if desired. We can also recommend a preferred plumber, with whom we are familiar. Once the source of loss has been determined and acknowledged, the water mitigation process begins. The next step in the water mitigation process is to determine if you are going to use your insurance or do self-pay. At this time, I am not going into detail on insurance versus self-pay, but I would like to say that both methods are optional and valid. It is also a critical step in the water mitigation process. If you decide to use your insurance, Service Master Restoration by COSEA will work with you to contact your insurance company and file a water damage claim. If you decide to use the self-pay route, Service Master Restoration by COSEA will walk you through that process, step by step as well. There is no reason, at all, that this should be any more stressful than it needs to be. Let us help you in your water mitigation journey. Next, we have the inspection and assessment part of the water mitigation process. Service Master Restoration by COSEA will send a water mitigation technician out to inspect the property and assess the level and the type of water damage. During this process, the team will also determine which category of water is present in the building. I will go into detail on what the different types of water damage are later on in this video. The last step in the water mitigation process is water extraction and drying. We will pump standing water away from the property using current extraction methods. Our teams will then follow up with specialized vacuum equipment that removes residual water from the porous surfaces. Once the water has been removed, they'll focus on cleaning the water-affected areas and using microbial disinfectants to help stop mold from growing. Then we start the drying process. This process, called structural drying, involves a wide range of industrial-grade equipment, such as wood floor and subfloor drying systems, high-volume commercial air movers and dehumidifiers. Once the water-affected areas are dry, the mitigation team will stabilize the property by applying site-specific drying techniques that minimize secondary water damage. For example, the drying equipment can be focused on crumbling drywall or buckling floors. Addressing secondary water damage stabilizes the property and prepares it for restoration. Earlier in the video, I mentioned there are 4 different categories of water damage, and I would explain them later in this video. Well, now is the time to explain. The 4 classes of water damage are: Class 1, this is the least severe type of water damage. It occurs when a small area of the surface is affected by water or moisture, which covers less than 5% of the total surface area. Class 2. This type of water damage is more significant, with more porous materials affected by water or moisture. The impacted area covers 5% to 40% of the total surface area. Class 3. This is the most severe type of water damage. It usually involves large areas of the surface being affected by water or moisture, covering more than 40% of the total surface area. Class 4. This type of water damage is unique and usually involves materials that do not easily absorb water. These materials may have deeply held or bound water that requires longer drying times and specialized drying methods. Examples of such materials include concrete, hardwood, and plaster. This concludes the video on what exactly water mitigation is and why it is important. I hope this video helped explain the process, as well as help alleviate some of the stress involved in the water mitigation process. Service Master Restoration by COSEA, located in Sumner, Washington, is dedicated to customer care and knowledge. If you have any questions about water mitigation or anything else, please do not hesitate to reach out. We value your opinion.